Hello, ninth graders. It's great to see you, freshmen. I hope you all are having a wonderful year so far. My name is Mrs. Brummage, and I'm one of the school counselors here at Childs. And today, myself and the other counselors will be talking to you about some very important information for your freshman year. So it's important that you pay attention. I hope you're all having a wonderful year, whether you're digital or if you're a brick and mortar student. It's been definitely an interesting year, and we hope you all are doing great. So for the class of 2024, what I advise you to do is make sure your parents are signed up for listserv. If they're not, they should do that and sign up so they can get important email updates about everything that's going on at Childs. We also have the Remind app, which is a really good thing for you guys to do to set up so you can also be aware of what is going on. All right, so the importance of a good start. It's very important to do well your ninth grade year. It sort of sets the tone for everything else you're going to do for the rest of your high school career. And there have actually been studies shows that there's correlation between doing well in ninth grade and doing well in college. Also doing well with your GPA from ninth grade to junior year. There's a correlation with that. So it is very important. So keep that in mind as you guys go through. I know we're finishing the first quarter now, as you guys move into the second quarter. It's all very important. It's not so much that if you do have a bad year, you can't recover, but it's more that your successful freshman year will definitely help pave the way for more success. So keep up the good work. Attendance is very important. I can't stress this enough. This is probably one of the most important things that we can, advice we can give to you. High school, you need to be at school. If you are a brick and mortar school, you need to be physically here on time. If you are a digital academy student, you need to also be logging in on time. You may want to allow extra time to make sure there aren't any technical glitches and that kind of thing. So it is very important. If you get 4 unexcused absences, that will equal an F for that 9-week period. So again, it's very important. There are some absences that will be excused, and your parents have 5 days to email the attendance office an excuse. So if you have an excused absence, and the reasons are listed up here on the slide, you may be excused for those. However, not having an excuse could lead to an F for your grade. And also, we know that during this time, if you're ill or you're quarantined, you may be asked to go home. So if there is a time when you're sick and you have to be out, then please be sure that when you come back that you contact your teachers, you email them, you talk to them, make sure you're getting everything that you need and getting all the makeup work. You can't expect them to just come to you when you return from class. So please make sure you do that. And it's very good to be proactive. This is our guidance department. All the counselors are here. We have 5 counselors, and you can see we divide our students into alphabet. So we don't do a grade level counselor like 9th grade counselor, 10th grade counselor, etc. We see students by last name. And the main reason for doing this is so we can keep you guys for the 4 years. So you'll get to know us as you move from freshman to senior graduation. So the counselors are listed here. We have Mrs. Natalie Garner, and her students have the last name A through C. Mrs. Kim Brummage, that's me. I have students last name D through HA. Ms. Alice Mathis, she has students last name HE through MC. We also have Mrs. Benton, who will be here a little later. She has students with the last name of ME through SA. And we also have Mr. Rick Davis, who has students last name SC through Z. So those are your counselors. If you don't know who yours is, you can look up here now and find out who that is. We also have Mrs. Cindy Fisher is our guidance secretary, and Mrs. Kim Beatty is our registrar. We're all located upstairs in the main office. If you need to make an appointment with us, if you're here physically at Childs, you can see Mrs. Fisher to make an appointment. If you are a digital student, you can also email us to set up a time for a Zoom meeting. Counselor roles, how can we help you? We do a lot of things as school counselors, so we definitely wear a lot of hats. It's hard to just say in one slide what we do, but to kind of sum it up, we can help with personal matters. So if there's some issue at home or maybe with another student at school, we can definitely listen to you and talk to you and help guide you with that. We also work and help you with school matters and academic advisement. So we'll help you with your schedule for the next year or plan for the next 4 years and help you choose the classes wisely. We also do career and college advisement and scholarship information. So as you're getting closer to, when you get to your junior and senior year, when you're getting closer to looking at colleges or jobs after you graduate, we're here also to help you with that. And again, you can schedule that appointment with Ms. Fisher, who's our guidance secretary. These are the diploma requirements for your standard diploma. You need a total of 24 credits. A credit is basically equal to a year long of a class. So for example, English, you need 4 credits. So that means you need English every year in high school. Math, 4 credits, which must include Algebra 1 and Geometry. Science, 3 credits, including Biology. Social Studies is World History, which is typically taken in 9th or 10th grade. U.S. History, which is taken in 11th grade, and Economics and U.S. Government, which is taken as a senior. You also need 1 credit of PE, which is HOPE. You need a fine or DOE approved practical art. Fine arts include drama, chorus, drawing and painting, and then the DOE practical arts, I will show you on the next slide which classes will count for that requirement. And electives, and elective is anything that you take outside of the other requirements. You need a 2.0 unweighted GPA, which is a C average. And there are a couple of assessments you need to pass. One of them is the grade 10 FSA ELA, Common Core Assessment, or a concordance score on, there's some other concordance scores you can earn for that as well. The other test you must pass is the Algebra 1 end of course exam or the Geometry end of course exam. Again, there are other concordant tests that you can take to meet that requirement. You will also be taking an end of course EOC for Geometry, Biology, and U.S. History. Those will be counted for 30% of your total grade for that class. And finally, the other graduation requirement is you must have an online class before you graduate. We offer a lot of what we call blended model classes, such as HOPE, liberal arts math, math for college readiness on our campus. So if you're in HOPE now at Childs, you're getting the online requirement. So most of you will meet that. If not, you do want to make sure that you get that course completed for graduation. And as I mentioned, this is the screen that shows you what practical arts will count for that fine practical art requirement. So you can see up here web design classes, all of the digital information tech class, all of the TV productions, all of the comm tech classes, culinary 2 and 3. So just make sure you notice that culinary 1 is not listed on there. So if you take culinary 1 next year as a sophomore and you're trying to meet this requirement, you will also need to take culinary 2. And now Ms. Mathis was going to talk to us about the grading system.
Ms. Mathis, you're on mute.
Good afternoon, freshmen, class of 2024. And as Ms. Brumage just went over graduation requirements with you, I'm going to talk to you about all things involving grades, earning grades, how those grades are recorded, and where and how you can track them. So the grading system, as you can see on the screen that we're looking at, is pretty universal and probably what you've experienced for the last 8 years of your schooling and life. And you can see, I'm not going to go over every little thing on this slide, but the range is from an F, which is 0, to an A, which is 100. And so you can see that that's how the grading system is very standard. Earning credit. So in high school, we're on a 2-semester system here at Childs, and you earn a half credit per semester per course. Now, the average, how you earn that credit is, and earn the grade is based on how you do in the 9 weeks, and if the class has a semester exam, how you do on that semester exam. So it explains that. It's pretty equitable in terms of how that happens, 40%, plus your midterm, your mid-year exam is 20%. And the final grade, which is your semester grade after each 2 9 weeks, is the grade that goes on your transcript. So it's important for you to remember that as you're going, just completed the 9 weeks, you do still have another 9 weeks of grades that's going to calculate as well as at 20%. There are classes that have an end of course state exam, and for those classes, those are year-long classes, and you won't earn credit mid-year. So at the semester, you won't have a credit earned. You will have a grade earned, but you won't have a credit or a percentage earned. So those courses, the final grade calculates part of that end of course exam, and that will count for 30% of your grade. Okay, so let's go to the next slide, please, where we're going to look at grade point average. And your grade point average is really important. Students will have an official transcript, and you'll have a state unweighted and a district weighted GPA after completion of 1 semester of high school coursework. So the unweighted GPA is based on the 4.0 scale, as you can see there. And the weighted GPA is based on, for honors, it's a half point more you earn for honors courses if you earn a grade of C or higher. For advanced placement and dual enrollment courses, it's an entire whole point more. So it's an extra whole point calculated into your GPA, whereas an A will equal 5.0 for AP and dual enrollment. Again, weighted is 4.5 for an A. There's different types of GPAs, and in the high school setting, different people look at different GPAs. And guidance, I will just mention, we're concerned about your semester GPA, and we're concerned about your semester grade, because if you don't pass something or earn enough GPA, it may mean retaking that course. So there is the 9 weeks, there's the semester, there's a cumulative district weighted and state unweighted GPA. The state unweighted GPA is used for promotion and graduation. So there's limits and what you have to achieve at every grade level. The district weighted GPA is used for class rank and academic awards. And you have to have at least a 2.0 unweighted for extracurricular activities, athletics, sports, those types of things. Child's GPA is computed differently by Bright Futures and the NCAA. So you have to look at, if you're a student that's looking at those types of things, make sure you know and are understanding what that means in terms of the computation of the GPA is different. Academic history report. So in high school, you'll have a high school transcript. Students work really hard to get to a really good transcript at the end, but you have to start in the beginning with that. On your academic history, which you can look up in Focus, you should see a screen that looks like this. It will show the courses you took, when you took them, the grades you earned, and if you earned honors for it or AP GPA as well. So this is something you want to always check. It has your overall unweighted and weighted GPA on this screen as well. So when in doubt, reach out to your counselor and get some help with that. The other section of the academic history shows your graduation requirements. As Ms. Brummage reviewed with you, that first column shows the total 24 credits, and then the next column shows what's remaining to be taken. So it also shows what you have completed by the check mark. And if it's a check mark with a little sign under it, that little sign is under hourglass. So it's like letting you know by the end of that year, you should have completed that requirement. And then the last column shows what you're currently enrolled in. So you can see that should total for most of our students a total of 6 credits for the year in that last column, because you should all be taking 6 classes for the entire year. Now let's go on to the next slide. Monitoring. Again, keeping track of your grades is really, really important. I really can't, one of my pet peeves is when students say, oh, Miss Mathis, I don't know my grade. How can you not know your grade? Well, because you're going to class or you're attending class digitally, so you should know your grade at all times. But in the event that you don't, you have all these different resources, such as Focus and Canvas. Now, counselors, us school counselors, are not on Canvas, but we can look in Focus and see what your grades are, and often have to do that and talk to you and your parents about it. But the parent portal in Focus allows students and parents to monitor the student status in terms of grades, attendance, emailing your teacher. The parent can set different email alerts. For instance, if your grade falls below a certain point, your parent can ask to have an email sent to them directly. On this screen, it shows some other important information, such as how to contact the help desk, which you, especially if you're on Digital Academy, is really important for you to know how to reach the help desk in the event that you are having some technical difficulties. That also shows the date that the progress reports are viewable for you through your Focus account. And also the report card dates are there as well. Let's go to the next slide. 10 study tips for freshmen. These are some suggestions, and hopefully some of you or many of you are using these tips already, because we've been through our first 9 weeks, and I'm sure you have gotten the understanding that you do have to manage your time, you do have to be organized, you do have to identify how you learn. Some of us, for the digital students, some of you are finding it's either for you or it's not for you, or you're emerging in that. So that's good to be emerging in something. That means you're getting it and you're going to get better at it. Is there a better way to study? That's a question. You figuring out what's the best way to study. Do you need a study buddy? Do you need a tutor? Do you need a textbook? Those are all things. Attending class, that's one of the items that I think Ms. Brummage touched on, attendance. So attending class, whether you're in brick and mortar or digital, is essential. Asking questions, there's no questions that are wrong or bad or, not the right question to ask. The thing is, if it's a question that you have, others probably have it. Study outside. We all need fresh air and to energize ourselves or to re-energize ourselves. So these are just some tips and things that we think will help you as you go along your way. And we're wishing you all the best. You're on mute, Ms. Garner.
Thank you. Hi, I'm Mrs. Garner. I have students A through C at the beginning of the alphabet, and welcome to your freshman year at high school. I want to talk to you about good choices, and one of those, it's in how you present yourself on social media. We all have it, we all use it, it's a big part of our lives. However, it's important that what you are putting out there represents you at your best. It's something that universities, scholarships, jobs will look at in evaluating you when you're applying for a job, applying for a scholarship, or admissions to a university. So please represent Childs, represent yourself as the best person that you are. It can become a place for bullying, and at Childs, we have no tolerance for that. If you are experiencing a situation where you are being bullied on social media, it's important that you reach out to either your counselor, and we will support you through the process in taking it to Student Affairs. Student Affairs will handle the situation appropriately, and oftentimes there may be consequences from it. Finally, the social media should be a place to spread kindness, happiness, be that sunshine out there. Let's try and make it something that moves us forward in a good way and and helps rather than hurts. Okay, so Ms. Mathis has talked about your grades and how important GPA is, and we've talked about your attendance. And the goal here is that every year you are promoting to the next grade. To promote to 10th grade, you must earn at least 5 credits. That means out of 6 classes, you should have passed 5. You have at least a 1.0 unweighted grade point average, and then to be exact, you do not have to have passed any of your academic placement courses. However, those are going to be important in earning your diploma. If you notice, though, 5 credits is still behind. If you are at 5 credits, it means that you have failed something. And if you are at 1.0, that means that your GPA is not going to be meeting the requirements for graduation. So it's important that you meet with one of us counselors to find out how you can go back and retake the course or forgive the course so that you are on track moving into each consecutive year. Next slide. All right. Most students in 10th grade who are on a regular progression will move into their second year of English. They'll take a science, a math, and world history if they have not taken it in 9th grade. We do have some students who are on an accelerated progression. They will also take a second year of science, a second year of English, and a second year of math. However, their history may be different in that they have the opportunity to take an advanced placement social studies, and those are listed below. With the state university system, we have certain requirements that you need in order to graduate high school, as well as what you need to enter into their university or be eligible to apply for admissions. As you can see, the requirements are the same except for world languages. You do not need to have 2 years or 2 credits of the same language in order to earn your high school diploma. However, for your bright futures, scholarship and university admissions, they are going to want to see that you have taken 2 years of a world language. But with regards to the other courses, as long as you are progressing naturally and even going above what the minimum is, you will be in good shape to apply to university somewhere. So some of our state universities, as you can see up there, we have Florida State University, which is here in Tallahassee, the University of Florida in Gainesville, and then of course we have Florida A&M University also here in Tallahassee. And you can see these are the requirements for the previous class. It's the middle range, so these are the averages, and they're very competitive, which means that you have to maintain that GPA, those good grades, make sure you have the rigor in your course progressions. And if you're striving for that route, then work towards it. If you need help with choosing the right courses, understanding or getting there, we're here to help you with that. We have other state universities aside from those 3. We have UCF in Orlando, UWF in Pensacola, USF in Tampa, UNF in Jacksonville, New College in Sarasota, Florida Polytech, I believe, is in Lakeland, FAU is in Boca Raton, FIU is in Miami, and Florida Gulf Coast University is in Fort Myers, Florida. So you can see that we have a lot of choices here in the state of Florida for attending a state university, as well as they're all in their own right very good schools. So when you get to your senior year and you're looking to apply to a school, keep your options open. Okay, some of these schools may be a really good fit for you. Okay.
Hi, I'm Jennifer Benton. I see students with ME through SA. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about colleges and just things to think about and prepare for as you move towards as you move through high school and you look towards college and what you need to have to get into the college of your choosing or the field of your choosing. So a selective college would be a college like a four-year university college where you have to apply and submit different things to the admissions office. So what colleges like that are looking for is a resilient student and a curious student. So they want to see you push through. They want to see you go out of your comfort zone and do things sometimes that are new to you. They also want to see nice letters of recommendation from teachers or counselors. When you're asking for letters of recommendation, make sure you give plenty of time to the person you're asking to recommend you. Also recommend that you provide them with a resume so that way they know things that you would like highlighted. Usually you want to give them a couple weeks at least to write you a nice letter of recommendation. You also want to keep up with your grades in your academic classes. You want to be earning the best grades possible because, as Ms. Garner said, it's really competitive to get into some of those four-year universities. They want to see a really high weighted GPA. You also want to look at your strength of curriculum, so your schedule. Are you taking classes that are appropriately difficult for you? Is the rigor high enough? Are you progressing up through from year to year and increasing that rigor? You also want to look at having a good SAT and ACT score, and sometimes the SAT2 scores, which are the subject tests. I recommend doing some test prep for that. Start preparing early. It's always a good idea to prepare in little bits at a time, but start looking at some of the practice and test prep and practice exams. Also, it's important to have strong extracurricular activities. So are you in clubs? Do you play sports? Do you play piano? Do you speak another language? All different kinds of things. You want to find things that are going to set you aside from everybody else that's applying to that same university. So what makes you different than everybody else? What is going to give you a strong application? So always look for experiences in the community, ways to volunteer, and just things that you can do that really set you aside from everybody else. So, you just really want to do the best you can and be as well-rounded as possible when you're looking at and applying to a four-year university. So a state or community college would be your two-year community college, or like a tech school or something like that. So an example would be TCC. Admissions for those schools are typically based on regular high school diploma. So if you've graduated from high school, you can generally get admitted to TCC or a school of similarity. It is recommended that you take the same core high school classes that are required for state universities. So it is still recommended that you have your language and everything like that, but it is not a requirement. It's recommended to take college prep courses if appropriate, because college prep courses do help prepare you for college, but again, not a requirement. A student who earns an AA from a community college, which is an Associate of Arts, is guaranteed admissions to a state university. It may not be the one of your choosing, it may not be the program of your choice, but if you have that 60 hours, then you can get into a four-year university and count those 60 hours towards your bachelor's degree. And it's also encouraged, if you are going to apply to a community college, that you take a placement test like SAT, ACT, or PERT. SAT and ACT are generally recommended, and we do recommend that you take those in your junior year, spring of your junior year generally. Okay, so if you are a student and you intend to be an athlete in college, and you have a goal to play Division I or Division II level athletics, you want to make sure that you are meeting all the requirements under NCAA. You would like to go to the clearinghouse, which is the eligibility center, and look at all their requirements. And during your junior year, you want to register with the clearinghouse. And I think it's about an $85 fee to do that as of right now. It could change. But in order to meet eligibility for NCAA and play athletics in college, you have to meet their minimum criteria. So they do have a minimum GPA criteria, and they're going to use your 16 core courses to determine your GPA. They're also going to look at SAT and ACT scores. So the 16 core courses are listed there. It's the 4 English, 3 math, 2 science, 2 social studies, 1 additional either English, math, or science, and then 4 additional academic credits. So those academic credits could be language, they could be social studies, or anything else such as that. So those 16 core course GPA is what they're going to look at, and it is necessary to have at least 10 of those courses locked in prior to your senior year. So they will always take your highest GPA up until that 10 core locks in. If you do think you're going to play athletics, I do recommend that you speak to your counselor so that way they can help advise you, or your coaches. All right, so Bright Futures Scholarship is a wonderful scholarship that we have here in Florida. It is academic based. There are several options. We have the Academic Scholar, the Florida Medallion, which you can see listed there. To determine the GPA for those courses or those scholarships, we're also going to use 16 academic courses. It's going to be 4 English, 4 math, 3 science, 3 social studies, and 2 language. You need to have a minimum of a 3.5 weighted GPA for the Academic Scholar, and then also complete 100 hours of community service. There are qualifying SAT and ACT scores, but those scores will not be calculated until your junior year. It's the 89th percentile of the previous year. So during your junior year, we'll be able to let you know what those scores are. The Florida Medallion, you have to have a 3.0 weighted GPA in the 16 courses, 75 hours of community service. And again, the SAT and ACT scores will be calculated during your junior year, and that's the 75th percentile for those. The Bright Futures Scholarship has one other option, which is the Florida Gold Seal, and this is a vocational option. So this is only good for students who intend to attend a 2-year community college or a tech school. So in order to meet eligibility for this particular scholarship, you need to have taken a grouping of technical courses or vocational courses. The 6 options are listed there. There's TV production, culinary, a web-based communication technology, DCT, and criminal justice. So all 3 of those courses have to be taken. You have to have at least a 3.5 GPA in those 3 courses. And then you have to have a 3.0 weighted GPA in your 16 required courses. And then also 30 hours of community service. And then there's varying test scores on SAT, ACT, or PERT. So if you want to seek the Bright Futures Scholarship, it is absolutely necessary that you apply. It is not automatic. Just because you meet the criteria does not mean that you will get the scholarship if you don't complete the application. The application is very simple, very easy, and it just takes a couple of minutes to do. But you have to go to their website and you have to apply for it. This application is different than the FAFSA. So make sure you are going to the Bright Futures website and you are applying for the scholarship. You would want to do that during your senior year.
Hello, I'm Rick Davis. I have alphabets as C through Z. I will be talking about community service guidelines and ways that you can get them. Here are a few things that you want to keep in mind. Service may be rendered to an organization, school, or community. Service cannot be paid, and it must be performed voluntarily. Service hours can be used for a political campaign or a business externship. Service hours can be earned the summer after your 8th grade year. Students are responsible for keeping the hours until your senior year. Service forms can be accessed through the child's website on the guidance page, also on the 2nd floor in the guidance department. Service hours during COVID-19. With the close of many businesses and organizations, here are a few ways to get volunteer hours during this time. You can make masks and donate them. You can write thank you cards to medical personnel and first responders. You can tutor students who need help. You can shop for the elderly or a neighbor. You can help out at the local food bank. You can contact Second Harvest. You can help with the local Red Cross. You can get this through going to your local volunteer website, volunteer.leon.org. Next slide. This is the community service form. This form must be completed and signed by your supervisor or administrator before returning to guidance. Next slide. Helpful website. Florida Shine. It's a tracking tool to get all your information you need for college prep, Bright Future Scholarship, career planning, and advisement. My Career Shine is a great career assessment. You can find out what career path you may want to take. Big Futures, it gives insight on state colleges and ways to pay for it. You Can Go, it provides student-related videos with college experiences. These websites are very helpful. All right, now to the action plan for freshmen. Here's some tips that can get you through your freshman year. One, you want to set goals, both academic and personal. You want to take a strong curriculum. You want to get involved with school activities and community activities. You want to perform community service. You want to start researching scholarships, opportunity. You want to take the PSAT and the 10th grade. You want to take the SAT and the ACT as 11th grader. You also want to take the ELA during your 10th grade year. And last, you want to be prepared for your sophomore year. Next slide. Next slide. Helpful website. These are some websites that can help you at any time. You can refer back to these. Thank you and have a great year.
Thank you, Timberwolves. I hope you enjoyed this presentation. If you have any questions, please remember to see your counselor. Thank you and have a great rest of the year.